So Web3 in general is definitely, first of all, here to stay. I do a lot of the play to earn gaming. I actually operate another gaming guild for that. Hi, I'm Sam Peurifoy. I work for Floating Point Group. We basically do A to Z solutions for institutions and hedge funds. So you can imagine if you're an institution or hedge fund and you come to us, basically you onboard once and you can immediately trade across 10 different exchanges, and we handle the settlement and the custody on the back end. We're also working to integrate DeFi apps into our UI so that you can directly hit those apps using our custodial solution. So this project was mostly created for institutional hedge funds, large firms, VCs, and foundations who are basically trying to either trade large volumes of crypto or they're trying to sell off really large holdings. Of course, so our firm originally started as an ARB firm. So we basically did, the classic Japan, US, Bitcoin ARB, where you sell and buy at different exchanges. But over time, we realized that there was actually more to be made in selling that smart order routing technology than there was in actually using our own capital to do it. And so nowadays what we do is we actually use that smart order router technology to help other people liquidate their assets without impacting the market and really ensure that they reach the best execution that they possibly can. Of course. So I think that crypto in general is a really transformational technology because it basically enables a lot of access for people who didn't have access to some of these financial instruments and these financial tools before. They can now get access to those things. In addition to that, it's really enabling things like the creator economy and fairer compensation structures through DAOs, where people can actually own more of what they use as opposed to before, maybe just selling off their data and not really getting much for it. So Web3 in general is definitely, first of all, here to stay. I think it's important that we recognize that the transition from, basically Web 0 to Web 2 to Web 3, that is a method of becoming more and more decentralized. So you started, telephones with really centralized nodes, and then those moved out to decentralized cellular networks, and now we're decentralizing further across multiple different nodes and networks where each one can specifically operate for a specific function. So it's a very natural evolution and next step. So I think that in general, Web 2 kind of favored the big tech companies. You saw big tech companies explode over the past 2 decades, and you saw a lot of innovation and really cool things come out of the sector, and that's super important. But where I think you're going to see a lot of that innovation move to is Web 3. And the reason why is because it empowers the individual over the corporation. And so what you see now is you see more individual ownership and equity in the situation, as opposed to the big tech companies just feeding it all the way back up to the top or to some other shareholders. Do I hold NFTs? Yes, I hold a bunch of game assets. So I do a lot of the play to earn gaming. I actually operate another gaming guild for that. But yeah, I'm active in the NFT space myself. I believe that in general, play to earn is also here to stay, and that's in exactly the same vein as Web 3. The reason is because it empowers the individual at the base level to really participate in those compensation structures. Again, for the past 2 decades, big tech companies, big gaming companies have been taking from the individual and not giving back value in excess of just participating. But now a participant can play the game, they can use the service, they can be in the economy, and they actually get paid to do it. And so that's a much more fair compensation structure across the board. Frankly, I do see the crypto gaming industry eventually overtaking the traditional gaming industry. And that's just because as soon as, in general, games become fun enough and have reasonable economic compensation models that actually bring value into the ecosystem and redistribute that to the players, there's going to be no reason that you would play a normal Web 2 game when you could be playing a Web 3 game and earning a livelihood at the same time. So I would say that the biggest trends are definitely in decentralized access to financial tooling. So, things like yield aggregation, lending, margin, all these different and unique strategies. These are innovative sectors that may not actually even exist in traditional finance, but are entirely enabled by Web3. I think Alchemix in general is a really interesting example of this. Self-paying loans don't really exist back in Web 2. So what you're seeing is a lot of innovation and a lot of new things coming out that you couldn't possibly imagine before that are entirely enabled by smart contracts on chain. Of course. So with Floating Point Group, the big picture here is to bring big institutional folks into the crypto side. This helps both people in retail in crypto already because now volumes will be higher, but it also helps institutional players who traditionally have a really hard time dealing with regulation and the different moving pieces that are involved within the crypto industry. So I think that Floating Point Group in general does a really, really good job of tying it all together where you have a one-stop package and you can get everything that you need in exactly one account.